Upgrading. Copy the AVG card update from the firmware directly to the SD card. Okay, and the SD card. Control-Shift-U. AVG card will load the update and tell you when it's loaded. Okay. Louis Rossmann, big view. Control-Shift-U. Yes, loading update. Card done. Card button. Update starting. Please hold your breath. Erasing flash. Programming flash. Done. Are we updated? Seems so. And what now? You will get an all done message when it's finished. Power cycle your Atari. So it's not the message. It should be all done. And it's written done. So the documentation is wrong. Okay. Power cycle. 3, 2, 1. Contact. Yoo-hoo! Still works. Okay. Let me check one functionality. Car file. And no stupid colors. Gee. What's wrong with this? Let me try to correct colors. So I had to just smack it, like with all the old TV sets. We've got TMP with us. So the person that created this device. So yeah, of course, I'm unprepared as usual because I didn't prepare the video nor the audio to play. And I still have no knowledge about Sparta.x. So yeah, but that's the beginning. Yes, I will remove this thing because it's just... Okay, preparations done, I suppose. It's 2022. It's 10th of September. And it's Saturday night, 9 p.m. Very good time to play with retro stuff. Very important thing, it's Central European time, so GMT +2. I've got some conversion for different time zones, but it's really not important because most of you will be watching it later on, not live. Information for everybody who is here already connected on Zoom. Remember, you can just enable your microphone and interrupt me at any moment. This is a live, exchange of thoughts. You can ask questions in the chat, or you can just, interrupt me as saying that I'm dumb and I'm saying stupid shit because, I'm just make some errors. I'm not saying I know everything. It just happened that I've got this device by mistake, maybe. Okay, I paid for it, so it's not by mistake. I really wanted it. So yeah, let's just zoom in into the device we'll be talking about today. Oh, wrong camera. So we've got this little fellow, which is called AVG card. It's written on it with small letters that it's average card, but it's not mediocre. It's really powerful piece of device. And this powerful device is made for, exactly, Misha, you've got one, another one, yeah. And it's made for powering these machines. So Atari 8-bit computers. And you can use it with any of the Atari 8-bit that contains the cartridge slot. So it can be Atari 800XE, it can be 65XE. What is required is the regular cartridge slot, which is completely standard in all of those machines. There is one warning. If you've got Atari 1200, you will have issues with putting it into the deep slot, which is on the side. It just doesn't fit. In this case, you would need some kind of extender or stuff like this. But most of us, especially in Eastern, as we call it, Middle Europe, we've got 800 XLs or 65 XE or 130 XE, which are most common here. If we are talking about the official distribution that happened in 80s and the beginning of 90s, you will have zero issues. Okay, let's go back to the device itself. So as we already said, it's a cartridge. And it's a cartridge that is really powerful. On top, you've got SD card slot. It accepts, I suppose, all the typical kinds of SD. I'm using a very small SD card, which is just 4 gigabytes, but it's plenty of space for Atari that has only 64 kilobytes by default. It has one button that allows you to just go back to the original menu. And you've got the second button that runs very different functions. The most common is to switch the simulated devices. That's not the end. On sites, especially on the newer revisions, you've got 2 additional ports that you can use to connect. My favorite extension is an SIO cable that you just connect on the side. And you can do it only one way, so there is no problem if you put it otherwise. It's just not possible to put it incorrectly. And this allows very good simulation or emulation or just interactivity with files of ATR format, meaning that it simulates regular drive, but not only. It can simulate also different SIO devices, with the most important being the cassette player or just tape drive, whatever you call it. I don't know what is the official English name for this kind of storage. It was very common in Poland, but of course, let's be frank, drives, floppy drives is always the best solution if you can have it. But of course, it's quite expensive and it's quite sometimes hard to keep it running. So, you know, all the simulation devices that can just simulate the real drive is always welcome solution. And that's not the end. On the other side, it's important to say that it's in the newer releases of AVG cards. In previous releases, those connectors were hidden inside, but in the newer, you can just have it. You can connect another thing. And that's interesting, very interesting thing, because this is something you can connect to something which is on 8-bit machines called parallel port. So PBI connector at the back of Atari 800. You've got this parallel port bus here, which is in fact just direct connection to the main CPU and between device bus inside the computer. So it's quite dangerous. Originally in the manual, I think it was written, just don't touch it. If you don't know what you're doing, don't touch it. And officially there were no expansion things apart from 600 XL. There was a memory expansion. But apart from this connector was not really used. But if you have newer models from XE series, you can find a smaller connector, which is called expansion, and it has similar function as the PBI. This one is called ECI. The older one is PBI. Because my original intention was to use it with 800 XL, I just ordered this revision for PBI connector. But you can, while ordering AVG, you can also order the version with the ECI. Or you can order both, of course. That's a very interesting solution because, yeah, the question is what it really gives you when you use this connector. It has, from my perspective, I might be wrong, but this is how I understood it at the very beginning, because it has direct access to the main computer bus. It allows you to expand your memory up to 0.5 MB, 576 kilobytes to be exact. It's not 0.5 MB, it's slightly more, together with the built-in memory, of course. So that's the first interesting thing. There is a second function, because this connector is able, through this connector, you are able to just talk to the memory inside the computer. It gives you possibility to patch it on the fly, for example, with SIO patch that allows you to load the data through this connector or through this connector much faster. Already 2 interesting functions. And we just touched the tip of the iceberg. Okay, let's just see what happens when you just connect AVG card to your computer, starting plainly without connecting all those connectors. We have to, of course, prepare machine. I've got power supply, and I've got monitor connector. I'm using, as I remember, as video connector. Let's, there's still something blocking, so I'm not using those extensions. Okay, we have to switch the camera. That's this one. Now you will see my desktop. So computer, Atari monitor. It's connected to LCD panel. I don't have a place for space for CRT device to be connected here. Let's put it. This machine is already expanded using Ultimate. It's still black and white? No, it's okay. Yes, that's an important message. It's expanded with Ultimate 1 megabyte expansion. And I think that's all of the modifications that are done. It was before my modification, it was completely vanilla, plain Atari 800 XL. And now you can see that this software is written well enough to tell you about your stupid mistakes you can do at the moment you start. It says just plainly no SD card inserted. So we have to, of course, insert SD card. And it should be formatted in FAT32. And then you can just put whatever you need. It's better to put it in correct folders, of course. And there is one small thing that is not making me angry, but SD card has always front and back. And you have to remember that for AVG, you have to put it backwards. So that the front of the SD card must face the rear of the your computer. Okay, let's just shut it down. Let's put it in. Let's start. Ultimate starts. And that's all. You may say that, oh boy, that's not much. Yes, the whole idea of AVG card is to make it simple. So this is just a plain text with the typical 40 by 24 lines, 40 columns, so typical graphic 0, and it's simple as that. To use this menu, you can call it a startup menu. You just use your cursor buttons. You can go deeper if you want to with return, and if you want to go back, you press backspace. That's something which is not so obvious for me because I would use escape to go back. But escape has also its own functionality. Okay, we've got the basics already done. First thing, what can we do with AVG card when you connect it to your PC? Yes, it's personal computer, so to your Atari 8-bit. First thing, being a cartridge, it can emulate cartridges. So you just have to find a proper car file and you can just try to boot it. So I will start with something simple. I will just find a Ball Blazer car, for example. Very nice game. And I just press enter. And from now on, AVG card is doing just one thing. It's being a cartridge with selected contents. What I've got now, the issue is, again, we lost colors. So I think our favorite toy, which is called I don't know. I will check it in a moment. Again, typical issues. You've got a machine that is nearly 35, 40 years old. And you've got issues. In this case, this is an issue with colors related to the potentiometer inside that is connected somehow to the way the color information is pushed through the cable, to the monitor. Okay, and we've got Ball Blazer started, and it's being nicely loaded without any issues. So that's the first function. What happens if you restart, if you press reset? The cartridge is started again. Oh boy. And what we are stuck with AVG card doing just one thing? No. Okay, let's try a different thing. We can shut down and restart Atari. Ultimate starts again. And we are back into the AVG startup menu. Okay. we can say that this way of starting and restarting the what's name AVG card is just slightly stupid, and you might be right. Let's just do it again. You've got different way of getting back on this. You just pressed, if you press reset, of course, we will be back in the game. But if you press the left button on the cartridge, you've got two buttons, you will reinitialize. And on the next restart, you should be back in the menu. Left button exactly does this thing. Okay, just out of pure curiosity, let's just check different car. Rescue on Fractalus, the same Lucasfilm stuff. Same company, of course. I just love this. Startup thing. Yeah. Coronis Rift. Okay, let's just go. Rescue on Fractalus, not Coronis Rift, of course. Yeah, works fine. And when you restart,
remember not to play.
Okay, I will not play. And the left button again, reset. We are back in the menu. Okay, so that's what we can do for starters. What is maybe not so extraordinary, let's just try to start ATR file. Will it work? It will not work. Okay, we are in Atari. Okay. Option. Reboot error. Yes. To start up there's possibility of starting some ATR files. But my question is, in what situation we should be able to start it up? Okay. You know, this thing is getting on my nerves that it has no colors. Where are my screwdrivers? So I can touch the potentiometer that is responsible for colors with magic screwdriver.
Happened before, I remember.
Yeah, it's still the same issue because the potentiometer has not been exchanged. Oh, did I shut it down? Yes, I just disconnected the power. Okay, let's go to the most important thing. I need something with color, so self-test would be just sufficient. Oh, just basic maybe. Self-tests. We know it's green. Let's see if I would be able to reach it with this. No. Of course, when you want to do something, nothing. I don't have long enough screwdriver. Last time I did this correction when it was disassembled, but probably we won't disassemble Atari this time. We don't have enough time. Okay. It's interesting that it worked for a moment and then it died. Okay. So let's put to the use our SIO keyboard. And try to load ATR file. So ATR file is, I'm still not using this. For your information, if you, as we say in Polish, you were sleeping under the stone. ATR file is an image of a diskette or floppy disk. So this is not the best example. Okay, we've got Archon 1 ATR. And it's loading. You can hear the regular speed of SIO. And this is very important. I will show you from the close distance because it's very useful. Here you can see the blue LED. It tells you that something is happening on the SIO connection, especially when you cannot hear it because it has been silenced through the internal operation. And it's fantastic. You've got 8-year full compatibility, of course, not 100%. Always in case of 8-bit stuff, you will find something that will be incompatible with this solution. But yeah, let's just try something something different. We are in Poland, so let's try a Polish game, which is called Warsaw Tetris by Jakub Husak. Yeah, and what is this boot error? I already have an idea. It just requires her to get rid of basic, exactly. It's loading, nearly at the speed of original floppy. So it's trying to replicate the original speed and experience of 8-bit computer. Yeah, last stage of loading. And we will listen to my favorite piece of music. I spent a lot of time with this game at the time. Yes. Warsaw Tetris. Start. Okay, we won't be able to play with a joystick, but it's not very important as of now. Works fine. Okay, what is one thing I wanted to tell you. When you press this button, Atari usually does some odd things. It hangs, something explodes, and it's important to know that it's nothing really dangerous. When you press this button, it seems like it's reinitializing part of memory, so it's just exchanging live part of memory of Atari during the software running. So of course, the software that was currently running in this memory area will explode. That's completely natural and normal. And of course, bad things may happen, but as we are simulating the drives and we are not working on the live data, hopefully nothing bad will happen. So that's quite common. And of course, you should never keep your only copy of important data on this SD card. That's quite obvious. Okay, what is my favorite part of the whole story? Is emulation of tape drives. So I've got here the image of the tape drive with River Raid. You can see the letter T showing up that this is the thing. So we have to, as I remember, boot it with start and option. I'm pressing return. You can hear the noise. You have to press the space, and now nothing happens. It's not true that nothing happens. We are loading the CAS file, so we've got the introduction, and you can hear the sound of loading from tape. And now, as remember, we shouldn't touch Atari, we should move away, because at any minute it can explode. Probably you heard this, and you can see also each record going through each piece of data. It's here showing up on the LED. This is not an original River Raid. This is, you can see that it has been cracked somewhere in Poland. And there is an advertising for Sesam shopping mall in Gdańsk on Grunwaldzka, street number 56, that you can go and buy, of course, pirated software at the time.
If you have a time machine.
Of course, you need a nice and shiny time machine, and so then you would be able. And there was a lot of such places then, and moreover, you were not able to buy an original software in Poland until Polish software started to be created and then sold, mostly in Poland only, I think.
Did you download it from our game base, or it is on your disks?
You are asking about this River Raid?
Yes.
You know, I don't remember. Probably it was downloaded from our catalog on in the library. I think we should say library in Atari Online website.
Okay,
there's a lot of stuff, and most of the things I take from here, from
just there. For sure, you know.
Yeah, it's not nothing unknown or rare and stuff like this, and it wasn't copied by me from the tape drive. So we've got the original speed, 600 bauds, so bits per second. So very slow. And one thing, I started with the this motion. You shouldn't touch Atari because it can explode at any moment and the thing won't load. And it's very common error and misconception as it occurred many years later, that it's not that Atari has issues with loading the data from the tapes because it's just, very flaky solution, meaning that the tapes are low quality, they are expanding, the reading head is just deteriorating or getting dirty and stuff like this, or it has been not set up correctly. No, the issue, this storage, in fact, was quite reliable. The problem is that there is an error in the software. So we can call it a firmware or kernel. In general, in the software built into Atari, that just causes this transmission from the tape drive to explode from time to time. Every exactly given number of seconds, there will be an error in the transmission, and it's very common and normal. So you can shout loud, jump around until you will disconnect the whole thing. It will still load. And you can see simulation of the cassette drive, tape drive works completely flawlessly. Of course, as I understand, if we are using the CAS file, we are still not fixing the issue in the firmware, so it can still fail from time to time, and it will be still caused by the original issue in the firmware, so in the original operating system. Okay, so we've seen the basic stuff, and that's where AVG is really fantastic. So we are able to simulate drive, simulate cartridges, which is the fastest and the best thing, I suppose, and we are able to simulate tape drives. I think that it's already enough to say that it's a fantastic piece of solution. Of course, we've got stuff like SIO2SD that can simulate drives, and it can simulate 8 drives at the same time. AVG can also simulate multiple drives at the same time. And both solutions are very nice, but this is very good if the only thing you need is to simulate the drive. This can do more, not only drives. You cannot simulate cartridges with that. AVG is, of course, slightly more expensive, depends on the solution revision of this, because SIO2SD is available in many different packages. This is quite an extended version with a through connector, so you can connect daisy chain additional devices through it. You can even connect it with AVG, of course, or real drive if you want to back up the existing things you've got on your floppy collection. But AVG seems to be one-stop shop for simulating everything at the same time. That's why I really like it. It's not that it's the best solution, not the only solution, but it seemed to be very comprehensible, and it just covers most of the typical use cases if we are just talking about running games and software on the real device. Havoc69 is giving very nice question. This simulates the regular loading speed. Can it go faster? Yes, it can go faster. So the thing I haven't yet tested, and I don't know if we will have enough of time, is can we simulate the turbo modules, the turbo modes for drive? So it can simulate a cartridge, for example, from turbo system. And I already have these cartridges prepared here. car files. Do I have it here? I'm not sure. I've got it here. No, this probably I don't have it here. But the thing is that in theory should be able. The question is, yes, TMP already. So very important thing, TMP. So the guy that created this device is with us today. He's unable to talk to the microphone, but he's answering questions on the chat window. And TMP has just confirmed that you can convert CAS to Turbo, or you can just have Turbo CAS file created earlier, and you can use Turbo Loader. So it should work. For this part, I'm not prepared. Probably we will do just yet another meeting with that, or maybe we'll be able to just prepare it. The question is, Misha or CAS, can you find a CAS file with Turbo? Of the format, you know that this is Turbo.
Yeah, that's the question. Give me a few minutes.
Yeah, so in the background, we will see.
Yeah.
Okay. So the basic stuff is quite easy, as you can see for AVG. You just select the file. If you connect the SIO cable, you just press enter, and you are good to go. If it's CAS image, if it's car file, so the image of the regular cartridge, and you can also start ATR files, and of course, XEX files. XEX do not require SIO. Let me just disconnect. Remember, officially, you shouldn't connect SIO and disconnect it while the computer is turned on. Yep, and you can see that without SIO cable, it's not connected now, I should be able to run XEX file, which is just executable file. You can see Boulder Dash has loaded nearly immediately. Very, very quickly and very effectively. Okay. I just don't like that the colors just died on us in the middle of showing, but maybe we'll disassemble Atari 800 at the end of the show, and we will try to make it run. Okay. What about the PBI port? Let's just connect SIO. And you can see that there is a lot of thought put into this cable. So if you would like to connect the PBI, the question is, how will you connect? This way or the opposite way? The answer is very simple. Because my question was, if you put this kind of stuff into the main bus of the computer and you do it upside down, you can really do some damage, electronical damage to the device because of just being plain stupid. Check it out. The length of the cable is set up this way that it's nearly impossible to put it opposite. It's plainly impossible to put it opposite way. There is only one way you will do it, thanks to the length of the cable that was selected when it was created, at least for this particular Atari model. Yeah, TMP just said, nobody uses CAS files this day unless you want to relieve your yaps and suffering. Everything exists in better formats this day. Of course, but TMP, remember, the whole idea of running retro computers and this kind of stuff is to feel the pain and have the fun, of course. I can see a lot of people that are just taking original tape drive. Do I have a tape drive here? Yes, of course I have, but I would need to reach. Okay, it's too high, but I will try to take it later. And I can take the tape from the times that was created in one of those places that cracked those games, and you can load it from the original tape, and it will really work. Tape taken out of the storage after 30 years, it still works, and you can feel the original pain. All the retro computers are made for people that are I think mostly getting back to the YAF and just trying to feel the original fun, pain, thrill, excitement related to loading. I remember my favorite game that can make you really angry on the tape drive is Tomahawk. It has length of more than 400 blocks, or records, as we could say in Polish. So the blocks that are you can hear while loading, and there is a counter which is going 462, 461, and so on. And it was very common that this internal bug in Atari Filmer can show up during this load process. It takes, I don't know, 20 something minutes. And the thrill of looking at it while it's loading. It's just something you to some extent you can miss. But of course, if you don't need to, you just use the cartridge, or you can use ATR or some ATR image or something like this. That's obvious. But a lot of people in Poland really had only tape drives, and all over the world. And it's very normal to have this kind of fun while playing it. Okay, I have connected the PBA device. We are just completely ignoring the Ultimate one now. And let me just do one thing, because I don't remember what is the exact shortcut. That's the thing. In the background there, you can see a very important website, which is called Dere AVG Card. That's the best website with all the documentation you can need whenever you will be using AVG Card. I don't know how often it's updated, but it contains everything from the history of the device down to all the keyboard hotkeys and the solutions you have to use while exploring functions of the device. You've got firmware update information. You've got information what you can do with it, with all the possible functions here. You can find everything here. And if you need any kind of help, you just go to Dere AVG Card. You've got everything there. So that's my one-stop place for getting any kind of help about this. Okay, so what I want to do is to use the PBI connector, which is called ECI and PBI cable mod. And I want to use it to get two things. So first thing I want to do I want to put it SIO and high SI mode. Okay. And of course, I don't remember how to do it. Okay, high-speed I/O. So as you have heard, when I load the ATR image, it loads at regular speed, which is something like 19,200 bits per second, which is not extremely high. It's just normal. It's quite okay, especially compared to Commodore 64. But we can do better, and we can be much faster. So let's just try to do it. Let's read the manual. If you want to enable high-speed I/O, either the OS of the software you are launching needs to be able to negotiate and set the POKey divisor on the Atari side. Ultimate 1 MB users can enable ISO in the setup menu, but I've got PBI. Okay, connection. Control-Shift-H. Control-Shift-H is enabled. So the usual way of everything in AVG works. TMP, exactly. TMP said that I would be shocked if PBI cable didn't clash with Ultimate 1 MB in your machine. That's what I want to test. I'm doing oddities, not standard thing. But at this moment, I'm not checking the memory expansion. Of course, I will not enable both expansions at the same time. We'll see how it works, but it's the further story. For now, I want to check high SIO patch, high-speed I/O patch. So if you want to enable something, it's usually Control-Shift plus a letter. It allows you to enable some functions. and just a control plus the same letter usually disables function. So high speed IO usually is, in this case, will be Control Shift H. And now it's asking us about the divisor or divisor. It's value that influences the speed at which the SIO will be working. 0 means it will be working at the highest possible speed, but there will be issues with compatibility. That's why current suggestion is to do it between 1 and 2 at least. Let's go at 1. And now let's try to load again some ATR image, the same Archon. And listen to the noise. Can you see? Can you hear? It was much faster. There was a different noise. There was completely different noise because it was loading at much higher speed. And those speeds are reaching. I would need to do some kind of measurements. I don't have any solution available for me here that shows me that we are going well over 100,000 bits per second. So it's more than 500 to 600 5 to 6 times faster than the usual Atari can do. Havoc69 has asked, is this setting, which we just set up, preserved when you do a cold boot? And TMP answered, it's safe to SD card. Check it out. Now, we did the usual operation. I press the button and reset to go back to this menu. Let's try to load something else. International Karate. Okay, we cannot hear the loading. I suppose it was slightly faster, but let's, okay. Let's just use something that we will be able to listen to. Okay, Mule, for example, or even like that, ATR. Can you hear? It's still going faster. Let's test it. I will shut down the power cycle the whole solution. We are inside the menu again. Let's go to this and let's load Archon again. And it's still running at high speed, exactly as TMP said. So TMP says that all those settings we choose here, of course, I need to do it like that. All the settings we choose here are saved to our SD card. In some moments, we'll just take a look at how the SD card looks internally. Okay, what else I wanted to show you quickly here? It's important, joystick works. This menu, which is quite important for some solutions, can be also driven by joystick. Let's just test it. Of course, because of the issues. Joystick should be also connected only when the computer is powered down, for information. As we can see, it works. It's very useful because you don't need to use the keyboard each time. It's important, especially for XEGS version of Atari that can be used without keyboard connected. And then the joysticks gives you possibility to just run software remotely. Okay, let's just try Zenji. Loads very quickly. That's fantastic. So AVG and high-speed I/O gives you not only possibility to play with the old games, but you can do it in much more comfortable way than it was originally with disk drives. Of course, nobody says that the disk drives are bad with playing with floppies. It's just a much nicer and quicker solution. So decision is up to you, which you prefer. I press the button, it hanged, that's normal. I press reset, we are back inside. There is one error I'm doing. Who knows what is the error I'm doing each time? Wave your hand. Okay. By default, when you're using a regular Atari with Atari, okay, Japanese accent, regular Atari computer, you always have to boot most of the games pressing Option because you want to disable BASIC. Many games cannot disable BASIC on their own, and they will just hang on boot. Or opposite, there are some software that requires BASIC, and you have to boot it without holding Option. But when you press return, as I understand now, according to the information written in the manual, by default, it starts a selected ATR with BASIC disabled. If you need the BASIC, you have to press the Option. So it changes the way you use Atari. It's very good for me because I'm used to it. Because my favorite solution for running Atari is with Kumegos, which is an alternative operating system. So we can call it firmware using modern terminology for Atari that gets rid of self-test and stuff like this and gives you additional functions, with the most important being exactly changing the way the Option key works. It's exactly opposite. So BASIC by default is disabled. Here, when you press enter, it's also disabled because pressing Option key plus entering return as the regular natural thing, it's just not nice. So this is very good solution that by default BASIC is disabled. So it really makes your life easier, and especially when you are not so well used to the way Atari works, you are not being hit each time with this error of, shit, I forgot to press Option. That's very useful thing that I haven't noticed before in the Polish revision of this this review. Okay. What else we could just do here? Do I have this demo Bosconian? No, I don't have it here. No pass. Okay, that's okay. So I would need to do one presentation. Let's imagine you've got the software that is run on 2 disk drives. You need 2 diskettes, 2 floppies, or 2 sides of 1 floppy. Remember, Atari 8-bit computers, the most standard floppy drives like 1050, California Access 2001, LDW 2000. Those drives were popular in Poland, not really well known, I think, in the US. Those drives are 1 side. So when you use a floppy, you can use 1 side, and then you can rotate it and use the 2nd side. And many pieces of software use more than 1 floppy side, and AVG also supports it. To be able to show it to you, I need to get prepared first. So I need to copy a file. So there will be a boring moment because I need to find this demo. This keyboard. What was the biggest? Okay, Newman is multi. Okay, I've got two ATRs and drive. Okay, got it. Okay, so let's go to demos. I've got Numen demo that uses two drives, two sides. So I need to assign one disk to one drive. So this is, you do it with caps lock, and you can see this drive has been, this 8-year image has been assigned to drive 1. I go down, and now I will assign with the same, pressing just a clear set tab with the tab button. I have assigned it to drive number 2. Let's try to boot it now. Okay. Okay, Numen is loading. Can we skip quickly, Numen? We'll see. As it's loading. I think Numen is not the best solution for this kind of presentation. What I wanted to say, because we cannot quickly skip between the. Oh, okay, we've got information. Turn disk, hit a key. If we want do anything, it will immediately tell us turn disk again. So we press the right button now on this, and we switch the drive number, the floppy drive number 1 with floppy drive number 2. It immediately detected that we have put the second floppy inside, and it started. It's continuing to load. Just very nice and quick and easy solution for the issue of having things or software that requires multiple drives. Okay, will it start? And this is exactly answer to Havok's question. Can you assign more than 2 drives? Yes, you can assign 8 drives. And TMP answered, yes, currently up to 8 drives. You can see Numen loaded both sides of the floppy, and it's running. TMP said that originally AVG cards supported only 4 drives, and now it is some masochist asked for 8. Why 8? 8 is the maximum number you can have of floppy drives in Atari. And the second thing is that with the real device, I haven't found even one floppy drive that you are able to put set it up for number higher than 4. So original TMP solution to have just 4 drives is completely valid, because it's really hard to find a real world usage for having more than 4 drives. But yes, Atari software can address 8 floppy drives without any issue, and This is very nice and effective solution for people that really like to have multiple things, multiple drives. Okay, what I wanted to test now is the second biggest function of the PBI connector, so the memory expansion. Let's do one thing. First, I want to check in Ultimate what are the current settings, because I want to, exactly, system RAM is currently extended to 1 megabyte. Ultimate 1 megabyte is not not the main subject of stock. Okay, return, escape, save changes, yes. So now Ultimate is not extending our memory anyhow, and we are set up to stock. Let's confirm it. Do we have the piece of software to allow us? Oh, sysinfo. Okay, I've got sysinfo. That's a small piece of software that allows us to test the current configuration of Atari. This is something that sounds odd to me still today. But you've got a computer that has a very well set up specs. If you take the default, of course, configuration of Atari 800XL, you can take 800XE. In stock configuration, they are all identical inside. Not exactly. There are small changes in the firmware, there are small changes in chips, but in fact, they are working from the software perspective identical. And I would never thought that this kind of software that gives you the current configuration of the system can be important on this machine. But indeed, it can be. Let's just see now what is the current system summary configuration of the whole thing. We've got Atari XL-XE, 605 processor. It's not exactly 605, the clean one. It's the Sully revision. Clock speed 1773. This is PAL revision. We are in Europe, so we are working with 50 hertz screen refresh rate, and all the power is 220, 240 volts. And we've got exactly 50 hertz lights blinking here. I had to set up my cameras because default NTSC 60 hertz is just what's the name, making me, yeah. And you've got OS video mode, PAL SECAM, it's PAL, and memory, conventional memory, 62 and 130 banked RAM, 512. It means that AVG is already extending our memory. Let's just go back to AVG and try to disable it. So as you can see, at TMP, it didn't explode, but it doesn't say that it's already, it worked fine. Okay. I'm shocked as well. I will explain in a short moment what I'm talking about. Okay, let's see the current status of extended RAM. Control-Shift-M. External memory disabled. Memory extension. In fact, it should be extension memory. Okay, let's just again try to start sysinfo. So we are starting now. We've got stock Atari 800XL. And if we go to, let's just go to the system summary, it's just faster. It's 62 kilobytes of memory free. So total RAM 62 kilobytes. It's not exactly 64 because there is some part that is not accessible easily to this CPU. So yeah, this is how it works. And now if you try to run a piece of software that requires this extended memory, of course, it won't be able to continue working. Okay. And this is what I wanted to show you. Of course, we did it already in opposite sequence. This thing can simulate additional half a megabyte of memory and just expose it through this PBI bus, so parallel bus interface, to the computer as a memory extension. So let me just do it the proper way. So go back to the configuration. We use the, of course, on top you can see that I'm still in the background. I'm all the time reading the manual because I just don't remember. Okay, Control-Shift-M, Control-Shift-M, memory extension in Rambo standard, Rambo, one of the multiple standards, enabled. So now we've got, just by having this AVG connected to this slot, and connected, of course, to PBI or ECI cable, depending which machine you've got, you will have a computer with memory extended without any additional cost. TMP, just one question, if you could just answer by text. Why it is only 512 additional kilobytes? Why not 1 megabyte or something else? You can just answer in the background. Let's just check the sysinfo now after enabling the memory extension. And you can see 512 kilobytes of extra memory added to our computer without any extra effort. Just you have to order this additional cable if you have computer with ECI or PBI connector. It's just fantastic. Of course, the question is, what can you use this memory for? The TMP answer that this extension is related to technical reasons. And I suppose this is related to the limited memory you've got on the chip which is running inside. And of course, TMP is right that going after over 512 kilobytes isn't really useful. But you know, going over 4 drives also, it's not really useful, but it was possible to do it. You were asked to do it. Maybe you can try. And yeah, the question is what this extra memory can be used for. So that's, it depends. Typical use case of Atari is running the old games, and 99% of games from 80s and beginning of 90s were written taking into account that you've got just 64 kilobytes of memory. So the software mostly doesn't require it. But there are some special cases in which you can use this extended memory. And the first kind of software that uses it, and it's not really useful, it's just fine, nice and fun, are the demos. Demonstration software is the thing that shows the power of nearly every extension you can put into Atari. Some of them are obvious, like the memory extension. Some are less obvious, like Rapidus, so faster CPU for Atari, or for me, completely awkward, in which you can exchange, for example, the graphics chipset and just have something so VBXE that gives you completely new possibilities with graphics on this computer. I don't fully feel like it's very useful, even though it's very interesting from technical perspective. I really like it, that you can do it. And this computer is so easy to expand with such solutions. I'm not saying that it's trivial, it's just doable now with the hardware, software, and tools and the talents we've got all over the place, that you can do these extensions. But for me, when I just take a piece of retro equipment, I think like I would like to play Boulder Dash. And for Boulder Dash, I don't need those extensions, or any other Mule or whatever game you like, International Karate, this kind of stuff. But there are very good cases that I have used in my life during the 80s and 90s that this memory extension really helps. For example, when you would like to copy a floppy to another floppy. With memory extension, you can just copy everything to RAM. Then you can put the destination floppy and write everything in one run. Now I can also use it when I copy a real floppy to the image. I can do it in one very quick run, copying it through the RAM disk, instead of swapping the floppies or whatever else I need to do during the operation. So it's useful for it was used at the time. It was very useful, and now it's also used for this kind of solution. There is a lot of examples of games that can copy and load the resources it requires during the game directly to the RAM disk. And you don't need to load those additional pieces of data during the game that can slow down the whole process of playing the game. It just makes it nicer. And in case of some demos and of course the games, it can give you additional features or the things that you can see and have during the gameplay that will be just nicer. Now, I don't have very good examples of such games, but for example, International Karate, we had it. This game, I'm using the Polish accent, International Karate. This is exactly like we pronounce it in Poland at the time. This game has backgrounds that are changing, and they are loaded always from the drive. If you have memory expansion, it usually is cached at the moment you load the game, and you don't need to wait for it to load when you switch to another background. Okay, let's just see the standard memory user standard device handler table parallel bus devices. Okay, there will be no PDI devices at this moment. Okay, because we didn't configure it. Okay, what else we would like to do? At the very beginning, before everybody logged in here, I did an update of firmware. I will show the beginning of the process. It will be on the video. I think Misha will just put it in because it's quite important thing that this device is not that you receive it once and for all, but new features, new functions, and all the bugs are corrected throughout its lifetime. Already we have how many revisions of firmware? I can see because there is some history. It's 0027 currently changelog. So it's at least maybe not 27 releases available for everybody, but something at least TMP had 27 releases already done. So yeah, there is a lot of changes happening. Maybe it's not that every day you receive a new feature, but it can be updated. So let's just take a look at the process. Maybe we should just press it like that. So here you cannot see much, but if we take this SD card on the main folder, so the root folder, you just put a special file which is called, let me just, avgcardb.upd file. And when you copy it to the root folder, being in this menu, you can ask AVG to update. And we've got information here, AVG card A or B. As I understand, TMP, AVG card A and AVG card B, it's depending on the revision of AVG, or there's something else inside those file names. Okay, so currently, as I'm aware, there are two revisions, the slightly older and the slightly newer one. They are just based on different, you can say, call it in short words, chipset, so probably FPGA inside, that use slightly different revision of software. So you should be aware, TMP will tell you which revision you are using. I'm using the newer revision, so the AVG card B file should be used. I have already copied it inside, and if I want to update, I press Ctrl, Shift, U, and it's loading the updates. It's finding that the card is 0026, and it's saying incompatible because I already updated it. So now I should probably copy the newest revision to the SD. Let me see if we can find it on the website. Okay, file has been downloaded. I have to go to my PC and copy the file. Downloads AVG cards, and there is B, exactly, I've got it. So I will copy it to the root folder. And Okay, what is on the file on this? I will show you later on. Okay, when you download the file, I can show you. It's we would need to do the screen sharing, but you receive AVG card A and AVG card B files, UPD. Of course, for me it's B. You just copy it to the, for example, root folder. So I've got it copied. Let me boot Atari. And you press Ctrl-Shift-U. Loading update. Cartridge currently is 0026 revision. Update to 0027. Checksum is correct. Press the cart button to start. So I'm pressing the left button. Update starting. Please hold your breath. Why it's set? Everybody knows what does it mean, hold your breath. Be careful. Now you shouldn't shut down the power because you are erasing the flash and only now it will be programmed. Hopefully after this update it will work. And there is a small TMP, there is a very, very small mistake. It's incorrect information. It's written that you should wait for message which is called all done. And the same information is on Dere AVG cards website, but the message is done without all. So just a small, it's not maybe not a mistake, but it's something that caught me. Shall I wait for all done or done is enough? Okay. Done seems, of course, to be enough. So now I can just restart and let's pray it still works. We just did a flash update of the firmware. Still works. Let's see if memory is still extended. You can hear that the configuration was retained because configuration is not kept in the flash. It's on the SD drive. System summary. 512 kilobytes of memory is there. We are still alive and on the newest revision of the firmware. Okay. What else could we now do that would be nice? Auto starting images, stacking cartridges, PDM, see the emulation. Video and audio player in a moment. We'll do it later. Auto starting. Check it out. I just complained that there is incorrect message. And Mr. Robot just a moment ago said, I should refresh the page. And you can see now it is written done instead of all done. The next thing, of course, TMP has to correct the update file on his website, but you can see the power of having everybody on board. That's fantastic. Thank you so much. Of course, you know, that's not a real issue with the hardware, software, or anything. It's just a documentation issue, but still it is just nice to have, especially when we are talking about the updating firmware and this kind of stuff, which is or can be dangerous. I don't exactly know what would happen if we would just cut the power in the middle of update, if it would be able to continue or not, but hopefully it's possible to unbrick it. It might be just slightly more complex. Operation. Okay. Let me see what else can we do now from the list of the things we've got here. Stacking cartridges. Okay. Let me go back. So one of the that's the loader, yeah, from Ultimate. See the loader. Okay. One of the quite important functionalities of AVG for people that are already into expansion. Oh, TMP already corrected the update text file. Fantastic. One of the very interesting functions of AVG is simulation of SIDE2, SIDE or SIDE, SIDE, nice name in English, side loader, of course, which is quite well integrated with Ultimate. The thing we could see in here, let me just go up with this extension. Ultimate is quite, I would say, extensive extension of functionality of Atari, because one thing I'm really used to is having CumegOS installed in the Atari. Why? Because my original Atari from the times contains CumegOS. I will just show you how I usually work with it, just for your information, because not everybody knows Cumeg. 1 second. Hopefully I won't fall down, because this thing is not made for this operation. Okay. Tape drive. Let me put my headset on back. So this piece of equipment is my beloved Atari 800 XL, bought by my family in 1986 in Pevex shop for $125, something like that. And this is exactly the Atari I had at the time. It was bought for my brother. And this has some modifications. So here is the switch that enables and disables CumegOS. That's another switch that enables, disables memory expansion. And using the style that was typical for the time, now there is also a switch that enables turbo freezer expansion. And according to the style at the time of doing modifications, we've got an additional LED on top that shows that the memory expansion is turned on or disabled, and the LED here on bottom changes color to green when CumegOS is enabled. That's why for me, always Atari looks like it's not the one we've got here with the red LED, but with the green one. I will just show you how I usually work with it. Let's just swap for a moment those machines. No, in fact, I didn't need to disconnect that. I just need power and the, come on, this. So my usual, as you can call it, workflow is that I have Atari connected to the monitor and the power. I've got SIO to SD. I can also take my floppy drive, but we can use SIO to SD as the simulator here. And the way I use Atari usually looks like that. I just turn it on. Okay, Havoc69 asks where this dust cover comes from. It has been bought around 20 years ago on what's the name? Just on the market where they sold all this equipment. It was very, very cheap, but the plastic is so brittle now that, I don't know, 2 months ago, I just put additional second Atari on this one Atari, and it just got broken. You can buy now dust covers from Polish company, which is called Retronics. They're quite expensive, 25 euros or something like that. And I'm thinking about buying 2 additional covers. It's just very nice. and it really works fine. And this one you can see the color works fine. Okay, let me just enable Kumegos and memory extension. And the way I use Atari is usually like that. That's my default screen of Atari. Kumegos version 3, created by Mr. Stefan Dorndorf in 1987. This was installed here in 89 or 90, I suppose. And you can see this additional LED here for memory expansion and the green LED that shows you that this is Kumegos enabled. I can just switch the button and the LED goes to red, that is default operating system. And of course the screen got garbled. And yeah. And if I want to load anything, I have to, of course, first enable SIO to SD and just okay. And we've got data loading. Jakub Husak created new revision of Riverride. What a nice screen. Kaz, you should like it, yeah. And of course you know it. And it looks like that. And we've got Riverride with modified icons and yeah, the beer, it was created for fun. Anyway, if I want to check what's on the drive, I always go into the Kumegos. So I press reset, and immediately after this select. You can press select, of course, and also do the select, but reset select is the way I do it. And you've got all the basic functionality that you need to check what is on the drive. On the drive, I want to quickly check, for example, the list of files. You press L, drive 1 is selected, you press L, and you see, check it out, Riverride is there. And it's very quick. And you can load the file from here with regular speed. Of course, there is no ISO patch, but if you want, you can just switch the mode to Ultra. And now it's loading with patch because Kumegos also has support for SIO patches at the time. So it's very effective. And at the time, it was just much faster to use Kumegos for checking quickly what is on the drive instead of booting it or booting a DOS, then changing the floppy and trying to read what is on the floppy and fighting with this. It's just much faster. You've got it built in, and all this basic functionality is there. Moreover, typical thing you do when you want to, at the time you were using Atari, was to copy a drive contents. If I wanted to copy a contents of this drive and copy it to a floppy and copy to another one, was that you have to have another floppy with the special tool for copying drives or copying files, and you have to fight with the whole operation. Kumegos has it built in. You press star, was it? I forgot, because this is not the operation I really do often. Kumegos copy drive. At the time, of course, we didn't have Google, so it was slightly a bit more. Okay, so we've got drive 1 selected. So we just do R or R, meaning it will be, I want to read current floppy directly to the RAM disk A. You press start, and it's now reading the floppy from SD. Okay, I broke the cable. The cable is slightly, the connection is slightly flaky. And it's copying sector after sector. And you've got the number 1C, yeah, exactly the same. sector you can see here written in hex. And it's now in RAM disk. And I can just select RAM disk A. Drive 1 now will be rerouted to the RAM disk A. And now if I press boot, shift inverse, it will just boot it from it. Will it work? Probably not. That's because it wasn't correctly. Okay, you can see the computer hangs. It doesn't do anything. You cannot play anything, but still you can always reset, select, and run into Commagos. Everything still works. Okay, so one of the things that TMP had no idea is how this AVG card will work with Commagos. We found that there are some small issues with compatibility, but nothing really crucial and nothing that would be unexpected. So let's just go back to the different array. Okay, the question is, some people might ask why I did this expansion of Ultimate. I installed in this Atari 800 XL instead of this one. The issue is that this one was vanilla, plus I have added to it this Ultimate extension, plus of course AVG card. But this one has been expanded at the times in 90s. And it has been expanded by a guy whose name is Krzysztof Stec. That was the last person, I think, that did anything related to Atari 8-bits on the place you could just buy, sell computers and all this stuff in Warsaw on Grzybowska Street. You can translate it to Mushroom Street. It was the most famous place in Warsaw for software exchange, buying and selling hardware. It ceased to exist something like 20 years ago. At the time, of course, there were only PCs and stuff related to PCs. Of course, you could just copy at the time in 80s illegal software. It was completely normal. And also, the whole fight between people that were doing some modifications to Atari and other guys that were trying to reverse engineer it to understand how it works was really at full speed. So Mr. Krzysztof Stec decided, I will protect it and make it harder to reverse engineer. So he installed the extension inside and then covered it with a special kind of glue, which was at the time in Poland called Distal. This glue is something you can compare to this stuff that is inside the old Atari power bricks. It becomes very hard, and it's as hard as the chips under it. Epoxy, yep, it's kind of epoxy glue. I don't know exactly the composition. I can check it because this glue is still sold in Poland. But it just makes it impossible to do anything inside this Atari anymore. Of course, he didn't cover the whole main board. Just this part he added as extension. And I have disassembled this Atari to confirm, because I was not sure it looks like that, because there were legends that this guy really used this epoxy glue on this equipment, on his equipment to protect like a copyright stuff. And when we did disassembly of this exact Atari, yes, it is covered in epoxy inside. This extension boards, especially for Turbo Freezer. So, you know, if we would like to modify anything in this machine, it can end with completely destroying it. And for now, it works. It works fine. And this is some kind of, you know, something that allows us to see and commemorate these dark times of beginnings of modifications in Atari. Let's just not touch it. Let's allow it to run and exist in this shape, even with this broken cover. I will buy another one probably, but it's not crucial. I'm not throwing this around, and it's not exposed to extreme dust. Okay, let's go back to this Atari. So I had a collection. It's not a collection. I've got 3 Ataris, 2 800 XLs and another 800 XE. And they were bought. I never really needed them. What I wanted to collect in around 2000, I wanted to have again the disk drive and wanted to buy also a printer, 1029, Atari 1029 printer. And each time I wanted to buy just a floppy or just a printer, there was always obligation to buy the whole set from somebody. So I bought one set with floppy drive, with floppies, and with Atari 800 XL. And when I wanted to buy this printer, I received printer, Atari 800 XE. I received tape drive, set of tapes, and what else? There was a set of tapes. That's the most important. And I think there was another floppy drive. Yeah, there was second floppy drive. So that's my collection. That's all related to Ataris. And it was sitting here for a very long time before I started to do something. And I found out that this Atari XL has issues with colors. We've already seen it. But it is these issues with those issues with colors are related to the potentiometer here that is just flaky. I have to clean it. And it should fix it again. Let me just connect it. Connect this thing again. Okay. And I decided that this machine is so nice, in such a nice condition. Okay, there are some traces of it being used. And it's not so deeply, you know, yellow, discolored, whatever, that I would just leave it in the original shape. But of course, to find out if it's worth keeping it in original shape, I had to disassemble it. And then I found out that it has been already repaired. There were some really not nice modifications inside, meaning the very low quality repair of memory. It works, but it looks awful. And so it has been already disassembled and was assembled back, putting the screws in correctly. So I decided, okay, I will extend it with Ultimate and I will add AVG and it will make very nice base for this kind of modification. Then I took this Atari 800 XE and I found out that this one has not been disassembled, but the issue is that it has broken GTIA processor, the chip one that is responsible for some of the graphics and also the apply emissive graphics. And its issue was that it had typical issue of this chip that is common to 800 XE, which is end of production of 8-bit computers. And it can be fixed with GTAI fixer. And I disassembled it. I have added the this GTAI fixer inside, and now it works fine. But of course, I did a some extent mistake because I ordered from TMP a revision of AVG cards for PBI connector. I should have also ordered this ECI connector just to test it with 800 XE. But maybe in future I will just add it. Okay. What I wanted to test now is okay. There was this whole explanation on the side with these computers that I really love Kumegos. And I wanted to have ability to test Kumegos and different solutions in one at once. So AVG cards gives me ability to simulate drives, cartridges, tape drives, have a memory expansion, but it cannot change the operating system inside live. But Ultimate can do it for me. That's why I have added those OS ROMs here. change upside down. And I've got Kumegos 404. I will just change it. I will escape, save changes, reboot. And now, if I do the, oh, doesn't work. Yes, I've got it. Kumegos. Kumegos 404 with the same functionality. Of course, now there is nothing attached, so I would need to reboot it. I will connect it, load, I don't know, novel emulator ATR. It doesn't want me to go. No, I think it's not happy. I cannot get to Kumegos with AVG being in Ultimate. Oh, I managed to make it completely unhappy. It doesn't react on reset. Okay, but this button works still. Okay, of course, this wasn't. TMP suggests. Okay. TMP explains that I should disable highest IO because having this PBI ECA cable, HSO ROM might force the Kumegos out of memory. Okay, let's try it. So I need to do Control H, ISO disabled. Let's just go to Novel Emulator again. Yes, you are right. That's a good theory. So what happened? When I tried to boot ATR file, drive image, floppy image, in fact, and try to load this thing, when I have highest IO, high-speed SIO communication enabled, it is changing the contents of memory part of the operating system, which is related to Kumegos. So in fact, enabling highest IO kills the Kumegos. So it's no longer running in the background. So you cannot go into it. So I have disabled highest IO patch that goes into the system through PBI, of course. And now, after booting ATR from AVG menu, you can hear that it's loading. And when I do reset select that should put me in Kumegos, it puts me in Kumegos as I expected. Fantastic. So we just found it's not incompatibility. It's more like conflicting functions of two different things that are just maybe not fighting for access, but one function of AVG killing another one. Suggestion from TMP, let's just try to disconnect the PBI connector and try high SIO this way. Okay, let's just do it. Okay. Just trying plain, everything works fine. Okay, let me go back to menu. And Control Shift H, divisor 1. Okay. Yeah, Kumeg doesn't seem to, I don't know Kumeg 404 with this high speed. Let me just see, Happy Warp. Okay, to have a quick in, okay, now it's disconnected, of course. So let me just, okay, and now I have to press F. and F doesn't allow him to recognize the mode. So that's the, if I press F, it should recognize that it's fast floppy, and it's unable to. So it wants, okay. So let's try the divisor for, again, for high speed, high IO. So Control Shift H, divisor 6, as TMP suggests. Here it's quick. And I can still go to Kumegos, and you can see F letter did show up. And it's going in fast speed. So, okay. It works. So, yeah. Solution. If you want to use Kumegos, AVG card, and to some extent Ultimate in the background, remember, do not connect PBI, and use high speed IO patch with divisor 6 or higher. Probably this is something that's the solution for now. If you are like me, dependent on using Kumegos, maybe I should get rid of it. In fact, for typical daily usage of Atari, you just don't need this feature. It's just me liking Kumegos. Kumego is for this kind of solution because I'm used to it. For me, this is completely natural. Whatever I do at Atari, I don't want to use the power switch in the on the back. I just use reset select, and if I want to boot, shift inverse, and it should boot, and it boots whatever floppy it's inside. And Polish manual for DOS 2.5. Dyskowy system operacyjny zawarty w pliku DOS.sys uzupełniony został o interpreter poleceń CP.sys, zastępujący standardowe menu DUB.sys. Okay. If you want more Polish, you have Polish revision of this. Okay. There was a question, will I show PDM and AWF playback? Yes, I want to show it, but I have to admit, I'm unprepared. So I need to find some examples of AWF, AVF videos, because it's just okay. Do you have somewhere the examples? Because I have to quickly find it. So let me just shut it down. Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Robot. Let me just download it. Okay, my arm is covering. Okay, Mr. Robot just provided me with the useful link to AVF files. Okay, I need AVF files. Okay, can be. It's PAL, so it's very useful. I have to just save it. Save link as, and I will just put it directly on this SDHC and our new folder media. Save. So that's the preparation stage. PDM file. Keystone Coppers. Okay, Draconos. Somebody created. Okay. Save link as. Save. Dracons. Okay, Keystone Coppers is not Newman third side. Okay. Save link as here's rate 2. Okay. So we've got those files prepared on AVG in media folder, but that's not enough because as I understand, we have to copy the players to be available and those players were, as I remember, inside the, yes, cosplay, COFplay, PDM, and AWF play. And we put it in which folder? In the root folder? I suppose so. Okay. Preparations of the SD card, that's something we will probably discuss in a moment, but let's just try this function. Okay. We've got media. Okay, Cadbury PAL. Will it work? So it exploded some not nice way. So the question is, what is the issue? Let me check the music. Okay. Let me check the video. Maybe I just downloaded it incorrect revision. There's Cadbury PAL. Okay, what we are listening here in the background, it's important. I just selected a PDM file. That's the music format. And this is music from Draconos modified by, it's a cover using real instruments. And the whole operation goes like that. There is a file which has 11 megabytes, which is read by AVG. Then it's pushed into the system directly to the selected chip. In this case, it's Poke. And it's forcing Poke to play it using regular functions, as I understand. If we do it with AWF file, it's doing similar stuff, but for some reason it is exploding now and not working correctly. There are multiple things that can be going wrong now. I suppose that it might be related somehow to maybe Fumegos. Let me just do this experiment and change it. Atari OS, BPAL, XLOS 123, yep. Escape, save changes. I have no idea if it's related. Let's just try. No, it's unrelated. So I don't know what is. Okay, TMP says that it can be file or fragmentation on SD card. No, I don't suppose we are. This is we are running on the base memory now. Let's try. Let's just put the PBI. We will have half megabytes. We'll see what happens. It's different. It's different, but still not ideal, I would say. So let me do one thing. I will just write this file again to this SD card. So it might be not fragmented thanks to this. This is drive F. The card can do 5 megabytes per second writing. And again, so maybe it will be not fragmented at all. Okay. Let me see. Okay. And try the media, Cadbury Pulp number 3. It's exploding. Different brands. That's the no-name brand. That's Platinum card. The TMP suggests that this might be a card issue. So we can try to prepare a different card. Let me see, where do I have? I've got here much slower MMC card. That's probably not a good idea, especially as this is 16 megabytes card, not gigabytes, megabytes. This one is 4 gigabytes.
What brand?
Platinum. Platinum. Oh, Platinum. That's a, in short words, it's a Polish no name.
Like no name.
Yeah, it's like a no name. Do I have a good card? Yes, I've got a good card in my camera, but it will take a while to expose it. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's go back to the music, because there is one interesting thing that TMP, I don't know if you have heard of. So it won't be audible for you, I suppose, because we are going through speakers, but I want to listen to it for a moment. So I've got this Draconus music, which is mono, 44,270 hertz. Yeah, there is this high pitch noise. Jakub Husak has prepared a revision of the audio player that supposedly works better, so gives higher quality audio compared to the original AWF play. The PDM, is PDM play, or I think it's AWF play. Yeah? Let me just find it. Yes, it's available on GitHub. Okay, it's not audio. It's the AWF movie player that plays sound without hissle and hum. Let's just try this one. I have no idea if it's different, faster. It's the only thing that surprises me that it's much smaller. Okay, let's just try. I will override it and we'll just see, but probably it will explode similar way because it will be just the issue with the card as you suggest. Okay, I don't suppose it's corrupted. I suppose the file, this audio is just okay. At this moment, Mr. Robot provided additional files, but they have bin extensions. Shall I remove this extension, Mr. Robots, because they have .avf.bin. I will just remove this this bin. Okay. Okay. So you have to put this SD file, SD card into the computer if you want to read it or write to it. Media. Okay, let's see. So we will test Jakub Husak's player at the same time. Maybe the volume down. Media. I will start with Cadbury first, just for fun. As close the same way. I don't need to press reset. The escape should be enough. But I have removed the pin while saving it. Yeah, that's the fun of doing the stuff at the same time while doing the discovery of a solution. And we will try with another card in a moment. For information, we are already 2 hours into the whole presentation and show. Of course, we are doing it live and we are just playing around, and we didn't touch most of the functionalities. There is still a lot of stuff in front of us. Okay, media. Yeah, so it looks like the card is. It looked like the card is just unable to cope with the load this thing generates on it. Let me think, where do I have? Okay, I should have a different card of better quality in my camera. Let me try. Okay, 64 gigabyte SanDisk Extreme. Sounds much better. Thanks for renaming the files. It will be easier for other people trying to do something with it. So to be able to do anything, I have to copy contents of this SD. It's just enough to copy. Atari, backup, ABG, backup. So I'm just making a copy of the whole. How much it will be? It will take a moment. 180 megabytes from the crappy card. I used this SD card because it was small and it wasn't SDXC form type. It was regular SD. That's why it should be just, I thought that it would be completely enough, especially as for SIO to SD, I use, as I already said, 16 megabytes multimedia card I received with one of the Canon cameras a long time ago. And for typical daily usage, it can be enough. Okay, data copied. Now we will take this SD card. Okay, I have to copy because I have no idea. I have to just copy everything here. There is 1.3 gigabytes, but this card is 42 megabytes per second. It's not extremely quick, but it is much faster compared to this Platinum thing. This card originally was used by me in the navigation device that accepts 4 gigabytes card at maximum, and it cannot be SDXC. That's why it was very, very useful for me for this kind of operation. Okay, we've got the card. Now we will format it. It will be just faster to format. Okay, not like this. 60 gigabytes exFAT. Okay, that's not a problem. It won't support exFAT, I suppose. Yep. So we have to partition it. TMP, exFAT is no go. Exactly. So the thing is that we are going technical now. So people who are not interested, just skip it. If you go with card too big, you are running into two issues. First, SD card, the standard one, can go up to 4 gigabytes, officially 2 gigabytes. Then the next size, we are going to SDXC. AVG supports SDXC. The problem is that on this particular thing needs to also contain a partition formatted in the proper format. And you've got multiple standards. For Windows, as we have here, the basic and the most commonly used format currently is NTFS. Forget about any compatibility with anything. Only Windows can read NTFS. Macs can also read it. Skip it if you want to have any possibility of exchanging data. Second format, the basic one, the old from DOS era, is FAT16. Nobody uses it. It supports floppy drives, I think, nothing more. FAT12, FAT16. The current standard is FAT32. The problem is it has limit of size. It supports up to 32 gigabytes only. And our beloved card here is 64 gigabytes. So you cannot format it in FAT32. Microsoft was very nice and created yet another partition standard or format standard, which is called exFAT. The problem is, once again, it's not compatible with everything. Moreover, it's license bound, as I remember. So you just cannot, like, out of the blue support it and provide it without permission from Microsoft. So to be able to use 64 gigabyte card in AVG, given that it will support it, we need to partition this stupid card into smaller partitions. I will just remove all the partitions and put it, create one which is 16 gigabytes, which should be okay for everybody. The problem is that playing with partitions, playing with format functionality is, I wouldn't say extremely dangerous, but you can just remove your own data from your very PC at any moment during this operation. So this is probably something that not everybody should play with. Moreover, I'm just working in Polish revision. So it won't be a guide how you should do it. So I will just take this, exactly, disk number 3, 60 gigabytes. If you by mistake try to modify drive C, drive E, any other drive, you will just most likely, if you don't know what you're doing, remove the data from your very own laptop. I have no problems because I'm a professional and I'm doing it for years. Of course, I'm joking, but I know I think I know what I'm doing. So I will just remove the volume, create simple volume. It doesn't like me. Ah, yes. Okay, and we will use if you want to interact with your PC, use PC keyboard, okay? 16, 386, 3. Okay, let's just do it around 16 million. Letter G. Okay. Format FAT32. And it will be AVG, it will be called. Okay, and quick format. And finish. So this way we are converting now the 64 gigabyte card into 60 gigabyte card to some extent, because the rest of the space is still available on this card. We just don't need it for a moment. Okay, so we've got FAT32. Now we go back to drive D and we copy all the data back to this card, to this new card. All the data, 1,000 files. There is a lot of crap inside because I use it for a lot of things. Interesting information, which it's not very visible here, but there is a folder which is called _AVG card. And this folder contains configuration we set up being in AVG. So you can see that there is external memory information and high SIO file that contains information that we have enabled high-speed I/O. And SDX ROM, this is a ROM you can stack with other cartridges that contains Sparta-6. But that's another story. At this moment, we want to test the playback feature. Let's wait. Still copying the data. So on most of the SD cards, saving data takes longer than reading it. And that's a completely natural, taking into account how flash memory works. Okay, let's wait. Anybody, any questions? Comments? Saying that I'm dumb, stupid, or unprepared? Whatever. I don't mind. This was very long comment.
I have no questions.
Yes, because we already did it. Yes. Okay, TMP suggests that we could use an SD card formatter that technically it should allow us to format 64 gigabytes to FAT32. The problem is, I'm just suggesting that as this is not really supported by FAT32, we will run into multiple different issues related to compatibility. That's why I'm eager to do this solution, especially as we are doing just trying to do just a quick and dirty solution. Let us see if it works. Ultimate works, yep. That is disabled currently. Okay, we've got all the data. Let me just put the volume down because it wasn't the nicest sound. Not very. It's doing exactly the same crap. So yeah, and if I use the second, the intro, yeah. So now I was running on Jakub Husak's player. Let me just copy the original one. And TMP, you wrote that there is, I've read today that Jakub Husak's player doesn't work with 0.27 firmware. Yeah, that's possible. That's why let me copy just your original one that is part of the firmware package, AVF play. Okay, and I have to copy it to the root folder and override it. Okay. Let me try again. So now I'm using the original one. Media, Cadbury. Yeah. It's doing the same crap. But audio works fine. So you can, the question is, what happened? Let's try it with different Atari. Okay, because I've got Atari 800XE without Ultimate. So let's just try it there. We won't have PBI, but it's not really important. But it might give us some hints. Not everybody has this possibility of swapping Ataris, like gloves. But if we can do it, let's just do it. The only thing is that for me, putting the cartridge on the back is quite awkward because it's just much harder to align it and connect it. SIO, it's connected, why not? But later on, it's quite nice because it's laying flat. So it depends what you like. If you like to see this cartridge or not. I have to tell you, I really like the style of Atari 800 XL. Mostly because I'm used to it. It's not like that it's disgusting or not. No, this style of this project related to Atari ST that did show up in at the time is very nice project. But I'm just used to 800 XL, and that's all. And I will be consistently saying that I just like it. Okay, 800 XE, testing exactly the same stuff. So audio in this player works fine, but the video, I'm not sure this is what we should see.
Maybe you need CompiShop extension.
There will be no memory extension for this what's the name? For this Atari. This is stock. Sorry. Here it works. Check it out.
Dragon's Lair, a fantasy adventure where you become a valiant knight on a quest to rescue the fair princess from the clutches of
Okay, so we've got video, and it looks much better in the camera than live. It's hard to watch live, I have to tell you. But it works.
In the mysterious caverns below the castle,
So yeah, we've got some issue, and I'm considered to help to find out what's the story. And one thing, I don't know if you can hear it through the mic. There is a high pitch audio, and that's the thing that it was said that Jakub Skusak solution should help fix. So let me just try it. It might not work, as you said. But I want to try it now. So we ruled out the card. TMP, the issue is that if I take a stock Atari 800 XE, it works fine. With not with Cadbury file, but so with the second file. Let me see which one it was. Media. With DL intro PAL. It works fine, but it doesn't work on my computer with Ultimate. I'm not saying that the issue is with Ultimate. There is some just small issue here to be found. I will take the third Atari also when we will check it. in a moment. Let me just do one thing. I want to test AVB play from Jakub Husak out of curiosity, because we can test it. Let's just do it. So as you can see, the whole story with the meeting here on Zoom, we are playing live and we are trying to discover the whole thing, how it works, what explodes, and we are learning. That's the fun. There is a drawback that when you watch the recording later on, it might be boring because it's not like we present AVG in 15 minutes. You will learn everything you need and everything will be fine. No, we are just playing with it. That's why it's much nicer to be live on the Zoom meeting than watching the recording. Okay, let me try media and is the intro now.
Dragon's Lair.
Okay, I can hear the difference. It works.
On a quest to rescue the fair princess from the clutches of an evil dragon.
With this AV player from Jakub Husak, the high-pitched noise that is in the background, as he calls hissle and hum, it's much less pronounced.
In the mysterious caverns below the castle, your odyssey continues against the awesome forces that oppose your efforts to reach the Dragon's Lair. Lead on, adventurer.
There's no way to
Your quest awaits.
Okay, it's just happens. Cadbury. Audio works from this. Mono suggests that we should just connect it without PBI. Okay, let's try it. That might be PBI related. Okay. So we know that this is not an issue with this particular piece of hardware, AVG, but it's some kind of issue with Atari. We are playing with old stuff. SIO is, in this case, probably not needed. Okay, PBI not connected. Now, monitor and power. Oh, it was already turned on. Not good, but not very bad. Media intro. Yep, check it out. Without PBI, it works fine.
A fantasy adventure where you become a valiant knight on a quest to rescue the fair princess from the clutches of an evil dragon.
Mono suggestion works.
The action.
Let's repeat it. Let's just put PBI on.
But remember, YouTube doesn't like original soundtracks.
Good point. We will have to mute it. Yes, but that's the only thing I've got currently to test it.
I'm saying just in case.
Yeah. We are not monetizing it. So, you know, that's always something. And it's exploding immediately. I have to mute it. So, PBI. Let's disable high-SIO. High-speed I/O. Okay. What else? Memory expansion. Memory expansion is disabled by Control M. External memory disabled. Let's restart. Media. Still the same issue. It's such a bad noise. It aches just in my ears. Okay, so it seems when I do connect the PBI, the player explodes. The video player explodes, not the audio. Audio one works fine. Media Draconos works fine. Okay, just to confirm it, let's test it with third Atari. I will say the oldest one, which is of course not true. It's just oldest from my perspective, because this is the one I've got for the longest time. Let's turn off. Power. AVG. So let's disable the CUMEC and the memory expansion. No, okay. Okay, and let's try. PBI not connected. Where it's fine. Now let's connect PBI. Okay, I never connected PBI to this Atari. What's the problem? I think okay. The screen is getting into place. There's a memory, not memory, but the EMI shield makes it hard to connect. On this Atari 800, the EMI shield has been removed by me. Here it is still in. Okay, so let's try with PBI connected. Media, DL intro. Works.
Dragon's Lair, a fantasy adventure when you become a...
Okay, that's interesting. So it depends.
Could you disable Ultimate 1 MB?
I have to disconnect it physically. You can disable it?
Yes, or disable PBI support in Ultimate.
It's disabled. Exactly. The Steam preset. Let's blame Ultimate, and we really cannot disable it per se. I can disable all the functionalities, but it will still be there. And also, Chris said that firmware revision 27 blocked XEX support. Let me just confirm it. I don't suppose so, but I've got my. Works fine. So, Chris, there is an example. It works fine. So it's not that XEX stopped working. You might have problem with particular XEX, but in general, XEXs are still working. Okay, it's unrelated to Ultimate. Okay, so it seems that Ultimate breaks somehow support for playing videos from AVG. Anyway, let's be frank. Playing videos, it's made for fun and showing possibility that you can do it, not that's particularly useful. Let me just see just this Cadbury, which is probably, yeah, it has been converted probably incorrectly, but audio is there. No, it plays, it's just showing garbage on the screen, but it's probably the conversion is not done correctly. Okay, so yeah, we see this incompatibility of some kind. So it is to be aware that there are some functionalities that on particular devices you will be playing might not work correctly, and that's the case always with such devices and such solutions. But it may happen that it will be sooner or later corrected. If it will be needed, I'm here to support the process. And yeah. Okay, let's go on. Reconnect the main Atari we are playing with. That contains all the, that is the one that we are doing all the experiments with. I will go back to the original card now. Remember to, as the original SD card. Okay. One thing. Let me see. System RAM is stock OS ROM XLOS 1.3. Let me just maybe change it to Atari OSB PAL. I don't suppose it has anything to do with it. Atari Basic C, yeah. Sparta DOS X disabled, bootloader disabled. There is clock. Everything else is disabled because I just don't use it. BIOS, music head, BIOS logo on boot. RAM flashing enabled, joystick port 1. Okay. Save changes and call the boot. Yes, I know. Just for fun. To see if it has anything to do with the media. The intro. I have changed the and it exploded in different way. So you know. Oh my gosh, my favorite. Very nice explosion, but it explodes the way we don't like it. As you have seen, the colors got repaired itself suddenly. So this flaky connector related to this. Yeah, we've got colors now. Yeah, green color. Everything works fine now. Atari. Okay, what else we would like to test? One thing we've got here is the CD loader or side loader. So if you've got Ultimate, it has its own loader, L, and it works fine now. Okay, so you can set up Ultimate 1 megabyte. So the Ultimate extension. Let me just set up it the way it really should be. Okay, let it be. This memory expansion has been disabled. We've got Compy Shop. I will just Rambo 1 megabyte. Enter. Atari Basic is okay. Sparta DOS is disabled. Boot to loader disabled. Can stay so. Okay. Escape, quit. Save changes, yes. Profile number 1. Reboot. Okay. You can go to loader. And you can set up your Ultimate the way that on each boot of the system, it will go into this loader. It is much nicer and much more easy to use way of running software from on your Atari. Because for me, I would just use Kumegos. This is something I really like. But the problem with Kumegos is you can really interact only with the floppy that has been already connected to your computer through SIO cable. So from the real floppy or from the simulated floppy from SIO to SD, or from the floppy provided by AVG. But you cannot select a different image easily. SIO to SD has this really I wouldn't call it a crappy, but just hard to use if you are not not aware what is exactly on your SD card, and you are not used to this interface. It's just quite hard to manipulate. The screen is small, just 2 lines. If you have the different solutions with touchscreen and so on, it might be easier. But here you've got full screen of your computer to interact with your contents of your SD card that you attached to your computer and then you load. Side effect of using side loader is that the compatibility of ATR is slightly lower in some cases, as I understand. But, and for example, for sure you cannot use, if you go to CAS folder in which we should have cassette images, of course it won't show up because site doesn't support this. What we are doing here is we are using AVG cards as a simulator to some extent, or compatibility solution for Side 2 cartridge. Side 2 cartridge is from very far, looking from very far, similar solution to AVG. It integrates quite well with Ultimate, but it has limited functionalities. So it cannot do all those, not all those stuff that AVG can do. For example, cannot simulate cassettes, cartridges, cannot support cartridges, but works very well with regular file. But I can see that it supports only XX files. I'm not a specialist in SIDE or CIDR. Okay, let's just start Chimera out of pure curiosity. Yep, of course, some. Okay, do I need to use Fire to start it? Yeah, Chimera is loading. Okay, Chimera works. The most important part of Chimera game for me. It's nicest. Probably too loud. It sounds like crap, of course, but it's the why I like this thing, this pause mode of Chimera game. It's the first graphical thing on Atari of this kind that I have seen. It was one of the first game. False notes. It sounds, it's pain to my ears sometimes. But I just remember it as a most fantastic thing I have ever seen in any game. Chimera game on its own was quite nice, but this pause mode was wow. And it's playing classical music after all. Yeah. Okay. Okay, you can see what I did. I'm just completely automatically doing. If I want to reboot Atari without shutting down, I go to Kumeg-OS. It's of course doesn't make sense. And I restart. I don't restart it by reset by shift inverse. Okay, let me see what I wanted to go to loader. So and L. Okay. And now it shows our items. Okay, let's reinitialize it. L. No, doesn't work like that. So let's go to AVG card. No, now it says no device. Yeah, you can see. I've had this issue, but if I go to AVG, okay, I want to without boot to loader disabled. Yeah, okay, boot. And now if I use the disk loader, this will work. And now let's try the loader that are started by the Ultimate. Now it works. Yeah, so, and it remembers where I was the last time. Okay, so media of course doesn't work, and this will work fine. Yeah, this works fine. Okay, so what is it? Help L, and it works. Okay, so as I can see, it seems like you have to at least once go to AVG. So, and now it's unhappy. So that's the thing I have to understand, because I'm not 100% sure what's the issue here. Let's just reiterate it. If I boot computer, AVG is set up, everything is connected, I will go to loader. It shows nothing. Let me go to AVG. Shift S. Holding the right button while pointing. Okay, TMP is writing a comment. So I should boot it with. Interesting. This was interesting. As I understand, I have enabled the CDES support, but instead of booting to loader, it just went into the Kumegos. It's not a problem. It's just an oddity. Okay, let me just reset it. Okay, it shows up. Side loader. Okay. Device, AVG card. Okay, if I want to mount ATR, okay, I'm completely not a specialist in using this. Okay, to be able to use ATRs, I need to use reconfigure Ultimate. We are not going to play with Ultimate very deeply now, because this is not the thing I wanted to show on this. I want to play with it, but let's just try to close AVG story by doing something simpler. Because, okay, we are in the vanilla AVG now. What is the interesting thing here? So not everybody know, and I also am not a specialist here, and I never really deeply used it. The Ultimate operating system, we can call it, is Sparta. So DOS operating system, it is the drive operating system for Atari, is Sparta DOS X, and Sparta DOS X allows you to interact with Atari similar way as MS-DOS allowed you, or I don't know, Linux you can call it, but Bash with command line and all those stuff. And to make Sparta DOS X useful, you usually have it provided you have provided it, you should be provided by a cartridge. And AVG card can have Sparta DOS X provided exactly this way, simulating cartridge. And we've got here exactly Sparta DOS X in cartridge mode. But what is more important that sometimes you would like to have Spartados X cartridge and also yet another cartridge running in the system for added functionality. And this operation is called stacking of cartridges. Control Shift return. Okay, now I can stack additional. Control Shift. Okay, so currently we've got Spartados X installed the way the AVG card documentation is explaining. But what is important? What is important? Let's just try to look at this. Yes, this is Spartados. It's the invalid partition table. Okay. Okay, because it's not attached. Okay. That's something that I'm completely new to. I'm not a specialist in Spartados. I never really used it. I'm never programmed in action and stuff like this that can really use the functionalities of Spartados. But I'm going to learn, but not now. But this stacking of cartridges is very useful because typical use case. I had to organize it in my memory, as I never used it, but I've seen it. You can have Spartados, and you can stack Spartados with, for example, cartridge for programming in action. Action cartridge plus Spartados X allows you to have a full-fledged programming experience, if you really want to do it on Atari, on which you will be able to use both Spartados functionalities, which is really useful for this kind of operations, plus action, editor, compiler, and runtime for really trying to put Atari at its basis programming in language that really allows you to get some of this power. Okay, so that's the functionality we just, let me try this because, yes, automatically I do it. Let me see if I've got action here. I don't suppose I've got action. No, there are no programming languages here. Yeah. So stacking Spartados X with some of the game cartridges makes completely no sense. I would need to download Atari image. I would need to download action, learn how to use it to show you this. I think we will prepare this kind of extension to this recording maybe in future, but as a basic presentation of AVG, it was basic. We really went through a lot of functionalities of AVG, not everything still. And we found out that there are still some things, and we can always get to the point in which we will run into some incompatibilities just related to the fact that we are really doing quite complex and non-standard things with Atari. All this stuff is to make it easier for you to run games, to run software you've got, and just to play with real hardware. Because let's be frank, playing on with real hardware gives you slightly different, or sometimes completely different feeling compared to playing with the emulator or even FPGA computers. It's a subject for completely different video, I suppose. So yeah, of course, somebody who is really into this retro stuff can say, but you stupid guy, you are playing with LCD. Yes, I'm making my life much easier by using a regular LCD, because having having a little CRT here, it's just not doable, not only for me, but for many different people. But I'm using a special monitor that has analog inputs apart from regular one. This HP LP2475W is a monitor that allows me to play with such stuff. Thanks to the fact that I will not be able to show you the bottom. Let me try. This screw is heavy. Okay. And let me just get this camera down here. And you should be able to see that this monitor has, apart from completely not useful for us, the USB connectors. It has component connectors. It has SVDO and composite in. Apart from that, it has 2 DVIs. It has DisplayPort, HDMI, and DisplayPort. This is really a universal monitor, and I bought it really for cheap because for regular usage, it's not really useful because it consumes a lot of power compared to those other monitors here. So those HP monitors you can see, so it's Z24, as I remember, Z24i. They consume between 20 and 40 watts. This consumes up to 120, doing the same stuff. And it's generating a lot of heat. But it accepts analog input, what is, I think, crucial for playing with computers. It is able to accept this video signal going out of Atari without any issues. And the quality of image is acceptable. It's not extraordinary, but it's acceptable. And the input lag is also not very painful. What is interesting, what I like about this monitor, but I don't really use it very often, you've got something which is called picture-in-picture. So having a digital image, you can, in the corner, have image coming from your Atari, for example, if you really need to. So that's a quite interesting solution related to this monitor. Okay. I will write this monitor model here. HP LP, Hewlett-Packard LP2475W. That's the model. And I bought it for 50 euros, $60, something like this. So it was really cheap, and it has a regular VESA connector. So, you know, it's very easy to put on my monitor holders here. Yeah, so, and it's not my invention, this monitor. We've got the friend from this, on those meetings, you can meet him, Shimon, that lives in London. And he found out that this monitor is really fantastic for this kind of solution. And when I just found it, that it's freely available on Polish eBay, Allegro, I decided to buy it, and it came very quickly, and it's with full set, and it's in perfect condition. So I don't know how many hours it worked. It wasn't. It's not, of course, not new, but let me see if you got this information. 12,000 hours this monitor spent. So it's not new, but it's not very, very old. It's there is one important difference when you buy this kind of monitors. That one, Z24i, is backlit by LEDs. This one by CCFL tubes. So it will lose brightness with time. But as those monitors are typical office monitors that are meant to be running for hours. I use this monitor mostly for fun with 8-bit computers and for making this small room warmer, because amount of heat that goes up from this monitor is just extraordinary. Those two monitors are completely cold. They are not getting warm. This can maybe not burn your hands, but it's significantly warmer and you can feel the power that gets out of it. So yeah. Okay, any questions or ideas? What shall we show? What shall we test? What shall we break? For information in the background, on the chat screen, we can see exchange of information between Chris and TMP related to issues that he has with running exec files with Ultimate 1 MB and the newest firmware. But yeah, we will check it. It will be checked and tested, but yeah. So you can see live stream and operations with experiments done with some things and incompatibilities we found, and non-critical issues. But many people say now all over the internet, I found out that if you have Atari 8-bit computer compatible with AVG, so 800XL, 65XE, 130XE, and you need one stop solution for playing games, running software, and just, even more advanced operations on this, you don't need to buy SIO2SD or the real floppy. AVG should be something that really solves all those basic and even the more advanced requirements you can have, and it really can do it for you and solve all those issues. I really like this solution, and it's just nice and sleek. Yeah, maybe if you like this, the way 800XL looks like, it's maybe not the most beautiful solution, but that's not the point of this. To be nice looking, the point is to be elegant and effective. And looking at this screen, you can say that it was done with functionality in mind, not looking pretty, which is exactly opposite. Maybe not exactly opposite, I'm exaggerating, of course, but it's slightly different when you compare it to the interface of Ultimate 1 MB. Graphics, nice looking, everything, here being fancy, but functionality is slightly lacking behind compared to AVG. You cannot simulate cartridges, you cannot simulate cartridges, I think you can. And you cannot simulate tapes and stuff like this. Mr. Robot is asking if we are going to cover hard drive emulation under SDX. So I have to tell you, it's already midnight, at least in Europe. And I'm not fully prepared to I didn't set up the SD card. I think we will do it next time. So because we have to go through to get this hard drive emulation for Spartados X, we need to partition SD card. So I have to remove everything from the SD card, create those partitions, and then connect it. Then I need to learn a bit about Spartados X to set up something substantial there that we be able to use. For example, this commander stuff and to copy some files there and back. I already read it, but I'm not prepared, and I think it's already too late. But and 3 hours of recording is already enough of joy for people all over the world to get really tired, angry, and sleep in the middle of the meeting, of the video. Yeah. So we will leave it for the next time, and I really want to learn and play with it because this is something really interesting. I want to also play with Ultimate solution for that, but it's of course for a completely different story. Yeah. Any other questions?
My question is, do you know it's midnight?
Yes, I said it 2 minutes ago. And I have checked it. It's 00,
yeah.
2 dots, 00.
Now it's exactly midnight.
Yeah, it's close to midnight. Now it's after midnight. It's midnight, and now it will be after midnight. So yeah, shall we close the meeting? For now, at least. Because I see no more questions. So we can close the official part of the meeting. So we will stop recording. And we could probably, I don't know if I will stop recording. Can I? Yes, I can stop my recording, but there is another recording done by Misha.
Thank you, Kuba. Thank you for this interesting presentation.
So hopefully it wasn't as boring as the Polish version that nobody understood. Because yes, it might be boring watching similar stuff in language that is so foreign and so complicated like Polish that I was working in translations for a few years of computer documentation between English and Polish, and we commonly said that Polish is so complicated that it should be forbidden. Yeah. Yes. So if you have no contact with Slavic languages, maybe you shouldn't have, because it's just the guys that invented Polish were really funny guys. All the Slavic languages: Polish, Russian, Slovak. Because as I understand, TMP, you are you Slovak, or are you just passing by Slovakia? Yes, exactly. So for people not being from this area of Europe, Polish and Slovak languages are so close that we can speak in our native languages and we mostly understand each other. Mostly, not completely. And there is just a small quirk that Slovak and also Czech language sounds a little funny for people in Poland. And there is a lot of funny words that sound completely normal in Polish that are very bad words in Slovak. And in opposite, there are some words in Slovak that are very, very funny and sometimes can be considered abusive in Polish. But of course, everybody considers it just funny coincidence of words, because they are very similar, but mean completely different things, sometimes even. So that's Slovak languages. Yes. Anyway, both languages are very complicated for people from other countries. Yep. Exactly. TMP has decided to put the word that is the most commonly. I will leave it in the chat window, not to make anybody angry, or for YouTube to block us. The thing is that you use T at the end, not the T with apostrophe. So yeah, and many people in Poland don't know what it is. So it would be let's see. And interesting story for people from the US. I don't know if anybody from the US will be watching it, but if you look at this keyboard, what is particularly funny about this keyboard, if you can notice this special thing?
That this is Commodore keyboard.
Yes.
That what?
I had the same impression.
No, this is Logitech. I'm talking about the layout. If it's hard to read letters, I will use keyboard. This one. What is odd? Oh, of course, for you guys, not everybody, but most of the guys now on the Zoom channel now are from Poland. So they are looking at this keyboard. What the heck is he talking about? But people from the US might quickly notice it, that this keyboard looks like the vertical enter. No, Mr. Robot, I'm not talking about the vertical. So okay, if you want to be so yes. Okay. Check it out. There is no vertical enter. Yeah. So if you look at this keyboard, when I will tell you that this layout, this is not so readable.
How many keyboards do you have?
Enough. So if you look at this keyboard and look at the characters on it, and then I will tell you that this is Polish native keyboard, For people in Poland, will say, yeah, obviously, yeah, it's native keyboard for Poland. Yeah. But if you tell it to the guys in the United States, they will say, okay, this odd enter shape, but this is rated that this is English international layout, so-called ISO, not ANSI, the layout. But we are the only nation in the whole stupid Europe that uses American layout as our national layout. There are no special characters on this keyboard. In Polish, you've got 9 special additional characters that we need to correctly write in Polish. A, O, Z, 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 Ci, U, we, and so on and so on. 9 additional characters, and they are not on this keyboard. And it's interesting that there is a Polish standard, Polish layout, which is called Polish norm, PN
just
87.
More compatible with American.
Yeah, the thing is that there were so many.
But do you remember we have 2 keyboard sets?
No, we've got only 1. The problem is that there is only 1 official, which is called PN 87. So Polish norm 1987, year of definition of this norm. The problem is that only the typewriters use this keyboard layout.
Yes.
But computers.
We have 2 sets.
Yeah. But then a lot of keyboards were imported to Poland and directly from the United States. Just look at the Atari keyboard. It is using QWERTY, American layout. No special characters here used. I don't. Atari was produced with national layouts, I think. Not many, but at least some of those. And yeah, exactly. You invited us with keyboards. It was very common to import those keyboards from United States, especially for the Iron Curtain. So it was an unofficial import, and everybody got used to use American keyboards. And second thing, very important, Polish norm 87 was quite awkward, and it didn't allow you to use some special Polish characters in capital form. So you couldn't start a sentence with some of those characters because it couldn't be a so-called big letter, so capital letter. So it is not really useful. And then Microsoft did show up with their own layout, which is also incompatible with the original Polish norm 87. And it still does not allow you to get some capital letters at all. And we got just used to use American layout. And the most important key on this keyboard is Alt-GR. So if you used to, if you would like to create, put a character with S and dash on over it, you use Alt and S, and you've got Esh thing. Yeah. Completely different stories, how many different formats, so encodings we had for Polish characters, and it's much more complex compared, for example, to Russians. They have complete, of course, different alphabet, but the thing is that they had less different standards of encoding characters than we had. I think there was a program which is called Grzegżółka. Repeat, please. Grzegżółka. And
I can.
Yes, I know you can. Yeah, you did it incorrectly. Grzegżółka, Grzegżółka, no, you did it correctly. Okay, there is a Grzegżółka XP, and this is a program which is able to convert all the, I don't know how many standards, 20, 30 standards of different way of encoding Polish characters all over the ASCII codes. No, Grzegżółka, double, the first one was okay, mono. I just made a mistake. So yeah, I don't know how many, I cannot count it, but even ISO standards, we've got multiple that can encode Polish characters, and it was able to, by statistical analysis, try to identify which standard it was encoded. This was really funny. Even Atari 8-bit did use how many standards for encoding Polish characters? 3, 4? How many it was, Kaz, you remember? We were doing it, analyzing it while testing Atari 1029 printer. At least there were 2.
How many of what?
Polish encoding standards on Atari. To have Polish characters.
Mono is the best person to ask about. Oh,
6.
He just
6 different standards, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. First silent word processor had 1. Polish
Remember,
editor,
it's
2nd.
6
Panther, 3rd.
Known standards.
6 known, yeah. Atari Writer Plus by PZ Karen, who was the importer of Atari computers. Eurotext and Piotext. Yeah. Six different 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, and that's the known standards.
To be honest, only 2
were commonly used. Yeah,
popular.
Yeah, so you can say so now that, for example, there are only 2 kinds of computers now. There are Macs and PCs. Yeah, but still, no. In the history, we've got many more different computers. So, yeah. Okay, so let's end this recording with this funny information about Polish keyboards. And I can only say to everybody who's interested in AVG card for as a daily driver for using 8-bit Atari 8-bits, I think it's very nice and very effective solution that can really be the only thing you will connect ever to your Atari for doing daily loading of applications that are provided on tapes, of course, emulated tapes, drives, executables, as well as of course, drive images, so floppy images. And it can also give you very good compatibility through this SIO cable, and it can even extend your memory through the PBA connector. So yeah, I fully support this solution for everybody who's interested in this. And yeah, I think any coverage that shows capabilities of this solution, and it has not yet been finished, it's still being developed. It's very valuable for everybody who still is able to afford buying 8-bit computers, because it's getting more and more expensive now all over the world. Of course, there are still places where you can really get it quite cheaply, but yeah, you should try to get it until it lasts if you are interested. And yeah, so we will cover it in future, because I'm really eager to test this Sparta-DOS part and hard drive emulation, which is yet another world of functionalities that AVG gives. And we were unable to cover all those things in 3 hours. And we still have at least 1 hour of talking about it left. Mr. Robot says that he really likes the FujiNet for printer and modem emulation. And yes, but I would say that FujiNet is completely different beast. Let me just turn it on so that Atari will be pretending that it's running. I would say that FujiNet is completely different beast. It's slightly more expensive, as I remember. And FujiNet gives you the most important functionality of FujiNet is that it gives you a way of connecting Atari to the network. So its purpose is different. Of course, it can also provide you download from the internet the images and just expose it as AVG does with local storage. And this printer emulation is quite interesting. Yep, it's crappy currently, but it works if you really want to emulate a printer. But for me, emulating printer is very odd idea. It's not that it's completely not useful. I'm not saying that it's a crap idea, but it's very odd. Printer is used in the situation when you want to get a piece of paper with something that has been printed out of your beloved old computer or the current one when you really need to print out the document. And simulating paper, virtual paper, yeah, at the end you receive the PDF, I understand, and then you can print it out somewhere else. But you know, still, this is something that is quite odd as idea for me. Just my way of thinking. It's not that I don't want to get FujiNet. At some point, I will get it, and I will test all those functions as well, because it's just very interesting, especially as FujiNet functionality, so those communication functions, sooner or later will allow more and more games to be able to play through the network, which at the times of Atari was unthinkable, not possible even to imagine how to do it. And now we can do it. We can get, for example, at some point, hopefully, I will get possibility of playing Mule through the network with friends, my favorite game. That should be done sooner or later. And that's fantastic, but it's also different world. But this printer emulation, let's leave it aside now. It's not the thing. AVG, it's just question to TMP if it's possible to simulate, to add this something like functionality that would be able to simulate a printer. I suppose it is. The question is, of course, if it's worth the amount of effort that TMP would need to spend on it. First, it's already done in FujiNet, and the second thing is what would be the final result? Because if you spend your time trying to write a document in any of these word processors, and at the end you will receive a PDF that you have to then print somewhere else, it's just odd. I would really prefer to take the 1029 printer and print it on this crappy printer solution because it's just funny. TMP summarized my request. Just get FujiNet if you want to print to PDF. Mr. Robot commented, it's like loading CAS files. You do it because you can. Exactly. Yeah, it's this exchange of sentences. It's just fantastic. It's just what's the name? Odd that I have to read what they are saying. I would prefer them to just say it loud. But yeah, and Havok commented, we like the pain. Exactly, that's the point. We, at least some of us, had this part of our youth in which we really were playing with this hardware exactly like was originally planned to be used, with this crappy speed of 600 bits per second, or baud, loading from tapes, having nothing else as a solution to load software into the machine. So, you know,
I could say it out loud, but okay. I don't want to talk over you.
Why not? That's the point of the whole meeting. That's why we are meeting live, so we could just, you know, talk and interrupt.
You are the only one talking.
It's not my fault. If I would stop talking, there will be silence.
Yes.
So let's avoid it. No, the thing is that we would like to have this whole story usable on YouTube. Yep. That's why I invited everybody at the beginning to just talk over me, stop me, tell something, you know, say I'm stupid, I'm doing odd things and whatever, because, you know, I like to learn if I only can. My life is learning all the time because that's the kind of job I'm doing on an everyday basis. But yep. Okay. So questions, comments, something?
Well, I'd like to say thank you. I really enjoyed watching this. It was good fun.
Hopefully it wasn't very painful because of the language. Yep.
No, it was good.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so thank you for these comments. Anybody would like to write something? Shout at me, so we could just if not, so let's consider it the end of the English version of the presentation, because we already did it in Polish, most of this, not everything. We were slightly further on, especially with this audio and video decoding presentation. So we are slightly further on, and at the time we had no Ultimate, I think, installed yet. Yeah, because I just bought the soldering station and desoldering station after the recording of AVG. So we've got Ultimate 1 megabyte installed here. And yes, we went slightly further on and found some incompatibility. So that's it was interesting also for me, the discovery. Okay, so thank you. And yeah, let's stop recording.
Thank you, Kuba.
I will stop recording, but the thing is that Misha is there still recording it.
Mm-hmm. Hi all. As I see, there is a TMP, the author of AVG card, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. And one thing I skipped, I didn't say the whole story, because I wanted, my idea was to just do the interview with TMP, so he would just answer how he came to this idea and so on. I would like to do this kind of interview at some point, if he would be able to answer. It would be fantastic. If not, we can do it written, and then I will translate to Polish and English and write it in English.
I wonder about the future of AVG card. Any new features planned, or just
drive number 9?
Would be cool to have network access possibilities, like Fujinet, for example.
No, TMP already wrote that if you want Fujinet, you've got Fujinet. That doesn't make sense to copy it.
Yeah, but would be cool to have one device which has all those functionality in one place, instead of plug in, plug out different devices. I mentioned that on the Discord some times ago.
Yeah, but it will be different device, because AVG has no connectivity and no possibility of adding it without creating it.
Yet no, but maybe in the future. I mean the new hardware part. Not only the software functionality, but
TMP, do you plan to create a new device?
Do you have any plans for developing new device or a new functionality?
Yeah, I like this answer. I never have any plans.
Yeah, we'll see.
But the question is, do you have anything now that you would like to add to AVG, apart from just fixing the bugs on all those simple things? You've got some feature you would like to add to AVG.
I like his answer. Things just happened.
Things just happen, yeah. In what meaning? What's happening with the PBI memory upgrade? Mr. Robot, what you were asking?
Oh, TMP's developing a memory upgrade, 4 meg memory upgrade, external one, but it's been very quiet for a while. I was just asking him what's going on with it.
Maybe he's tired with AVG PBI.
Oh, is that what you called it? Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's the big problem. That's the big problem that TMP mentioned. Because of the pandemic and the whole crap story of chips availability and the production resources, even for car manufacturers, the whole thing made the story of FPGAs a painful story, meaning first they were not available, and if you could buy it, the price hiked by 4, 5, sometimes even 10 times. So it's not worth creating those devices if nobody would be able to afford it. Yeah?
Yeah, I've noticed the same thing with Raspberry Pi. It's
you cannot buy it all.
$20,
Yeah.
and it's now $200 if you want to buy one now. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can only buy it in bundle, and the bundle of additional crap that you don't need.
All that rubbish you don't need. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, that's just example. So TMP, to be able to build additional AVGs, they were very hard to reach, to buy. Had to exchange the internals and create a revision B, as we can call it here. But you know, the same story is with this device. This is already dead in the water because of being old. So this is missed, and the problem is that's the same. You cannot buy the FPGAs. I think it's still built. It's still sold. So Lotarek has it on his website, but it's not possible to buy it at this very moment because of lack of FPGAs.
There is a new device. There is a new device
Mister.
on Lotarek site. Will be There is information that from 1st of November we will be able to reserve or buy one new one. I don't remember the name.
Mist 1.5. No, do not.
Device? It seems that the new name.
Yeah, but check the price. Sorry.
Yes, that's the fake price.
Okay,
because,
this is fake.
Because the way of the shop works.
Okay, because the thing is that Mist was something like 125 euros, something like this.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but after the spike in prices.
No device, no price, you know.
Exactly. That's just a block. And it's written, do not order. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, 64 megabytes of RAM or DRAM. Of course, it should be. Let me see. 60 original revision was limited. The thing is that everybody who is really interested into it, and TMP already said it, into this FPGA emulation, switch to Mister, because Mister has much bigger Xilinx inside. I think it's Xilinx or something like this, based on a DE10 development board. DE10 FPGA. DE10 Nano, or something like this from Terazik. Yeah, and the thing is that the price spike there was threefold or fourfold, because original price was something like 100 USD, $100. In Kamami, and now it's 200 euros in Polish shop here. But it's different because it's light board, so it's probably not the one you can use for Mister. So you know, with this pricing, it's not that nobody can afford it, but spending total for the whole bundle of this additional boards you need $500 US dollars for just having to start, you know, emulate. I don't know. Of course, emulating the old arcade machines is something different, and there are always people who would be interested. But yeah, it's just slightly too much, I think. DE standard, yeah, DE10 standard, $500. Yep. So Mister killed Mist to some extent, but nobody can afford, and it's really hard to buy tools for creating Mister now. So yeah, it will take a moment. The prices will go down. Hopefully, the companies won't die as well during the upcoming crisis. But you know, huge spike. Oh, there is an FPGA gaming on Reddit. The starting price 135. and it reached $200. So it's, yeah, spike, but not so high, but it's not going down. Yeah, I'm not afraid that Altera and FPGAs won't be available. They are required in so many places where you just create devices and prototype devices. So this is not a problem. But there is, you know, huge number of additional companies and professional specialists in bundling and so on shops that are specialists in doing this exactly for this emulating or simulating, in this case, more business. So, you know, it will be just harder to get. And we have to be frank. This retro fans spike we've got currently is related to the fact that us, people who really played with those 8-bit computers, 16 bits, and so on, Atari Amigas and the stuff, are now getting to the age in which we still remember how it worked, and we like to play with it, and we've got money to play with this kind of stuff. But in additional 20, 30 years, there will be less and less people that remembered it and were eager to play with it. And the original software hardware will just die, as Bill Hurt explained in his reliability presentation on VCF, one of the VCFs. Yep. So yeah, if you don't use it, put it aside, keep it in what's the name, absolute zero temperature, then it will last longer. Yeah. Of course, it's not possible technically, but it's just slightly funny idea to store temperature in very low temperature. The plastic will explode, I suppose. Yeah. Okay. Any other things to discuss, or we could just slowly get to maybe go asleep, as this is already midnight, and tomorrow there is still a day. Family goes back, so tomorrow there will be no additional meeting on Zoom. And really interesting what will be the result of this meeting recording and how many people will see it, because it's just, yeah, doing this kind of meetings in English allows it to reach more really wider audience, and that's interesting and really worth doing. But of course, it's to some extent isolates our source community, which is Polish based. So yeah, this kind of stuff held in English will be much rarer, but I think we'll do it from time to time because it's just fun, especially when we'll get more and more people from abroad just joining and exchange freely. Yes, Havok, I know that there are different time zones all over the world. This is the thing. I don't know if you have seen, do you know Bill Herd? The guy that was a developer of machines, he's Commodore related guy. He, for example, created Commodore C128. So he, once a week, he has a meeting with his friend from Australia. So this is quite interesting that he, being now in the East Coast, so in the area that original MOS Technologies had its headquarters, and he does the regular meetings with the guy on the exactly opposite side of the world there. And they managed to have it effectively, but it's really visible, the difference in time zones, because it's morning on one side and evening on the other. And it's quite odd, especially me watching it then exactly at the time it's most comfortable. So it's 8 p.m. And those meetings, we are talking about them creating devices, and because we are specialists in electronics engineering, so I learned a lot. Okay, I should sit down and also play Boulder Dash because I need to learn. Because I wrote an article about Boulder Dash special caves I have created a long time ago. I need to get acquainted with playing it, and then and then I have to record a video to be put on the website, and also do some screenshots of to be put in the newspapers. No, it's not a newspaper; it's a magazine that we are printing out. The second edition will happen soon. So yeah, but I think I'm too tired to play. And I'm waiting for the joystick. I don't know if you heard about this joystick created by another Polish company, Unitor, by Unijoy. And yeah, I've got just this. It's not crappy. It's just old QuickShot Plus. I think the best joystick of this kind with this micro sticks and everything. It's quite nice. Just sometimes up is getting blocked because the micro stick is to be exchanged, I suppose. But this Unitor will probably allow it, because another thing I've got is Topstar, and for Boulder Dash it's just too hard to play. And I think it's already crap as hell. Looks nice, but it's crappy. It was expensive at the time. First hour, Santiago. Yeah, it's 1 a.m. It's fresh hour, as we say. Beginning of the new day. And it's Saturday night, yep. Saturday night evening. It should be a disco. Disco. I can play 8-bit disco. What's the name of this? I'm player. And my favorite, Jet Set Willy. 1 second. I would need to probably share, to put audio in the stream. I would need to share this, share sound, share. Of course, we are breaking all the possible licenses, but what the hell? I just love Jet Set Willy in this revision. Jet Set Willy. Hopefully it's not too loud for you. So I think I was for a very long time looking for a cover of Jet Set Willy that would keep the original idea of the music. And that's the best one so far, by German group Dr. Future. And it's also using small amount of sounds from the, it's a very good addition, I think. Because the original music, when you take it directly from Poké, it has just very limited dynamics. And it's when you want to, I don't know, put it at very high volume in the car when you are riding. The dynamics is just not there. And that's why you have to do it from scratch. But if you do it really from scratch, like many cover groups do it, or just single person bands, how to call bands, they are just doing it, exchanging all the instruments to the modern revisions of, I don't know, electronic or even analog instruments, and it's losing the original feeling, I would say. And I don't like it. I just prefer to have more feeling of this. And Jet Set Willy is one of the best things that happened on Atari, I think, Poké. Not the only, because there is thousands of nice pieces of music and talented guys that wrote music for this computer and this chip. But yeah, Rob Hubbard did it. He's a musician after all, and he still writes music, but he did it very, very well, and he abused Poké the way it should be. And also, I remember that there was a black and white TV set. My brother loaded Jet Set Willy, and it was there for running for a few hours before he got back home. And I was listening to it and said, Jesus, I like it. And I just remember it. That's why it's not that it's more important. My emotions related to the music are more important than the music itself, I suppose. So the thing is that it's very hard to present the music to somebody who is completely not into the chip tune music and explain it why you should like it. You just like it or you don't, but you like it more when you grew up with this kind of music, I suppose. Until you're a musician that really understands the chip tune songs and not songs, chip tune idea of music, and you just like it. Yep. Okay. Let me try. But this one I will just play not on real Atari, but on the emulator, because I should train playing this Balderdash if I will ever finish writing this article. The article is written already. Okay, where is my joystick converter? It was somewhere here. Come on, do not hide. I have this joystick. Ah, there it is. This is a device created by Jakub Husak. Very nice piece. Works fantastic. Okay. I've got 3 cameras connected and the keyboard. I have to kill one of the cameras, it seems so. So I will kill the one I'm not using. Now, did I kill the one I was using? No, I think I killed something else, but I will just. Okay, yes, I killed also the camera. Let me try to. Okay, the upper camera. Integrated webcam, okay. And let me try to start the emulator. Atari. Balderdash. Where is it? Okay, it's on this SD card. It will be faster. Just use the SD card compared to looking for the file. SD. Mine. Okay, and screen sharing. Okay, screen sharing. No, that's okay. That it should be 10. It's not in comfortable place for me to play. Okay. Okay, this joystick is crappy. That's a special cave I created for my mother. Okay. That's not bad. I still remember how to do it. Okay. Come on. Okay. Of course, typical mistake. Okay. Yeah. So the idea of those caves is that you can play for a very long time and collect a lot of diamonds. So your idea is not to, the point is not to immediately go to another cave, but to collect as many diamonds as is only possible. And one of the caves, I think it's around 20. Yeah, you can see the number of those guys on the left. Allows you to collect up to 1,400 diamonds. That's not the best one, I suppose. The one we are playing here with. Fire is misfiring. Yeah. Okay, so you can see the idea. But I have to say that it's enough for me for today. I'm just tired. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. I think we will do it again in English sooner or later. I don't know when. depends on my time in the evenings without family, because family just went far away. So I've got this night without them. So I was able to just sit down and play. And yep, it's a very good time to finish now.